Hey folks, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Looks like our early fall is continuing here on Vancouver Island. 2 more days of summer left. Looks like it's going to be 2 cloudy, foggy, rainy days. Anyway, thought today I'd show you all the parts and tools I've assembled for my my bearing and brake job. If you remember, 2 weeks ago I pulled off a wheel to kind of check on the state of the bearings, maybe repack the grease, and made a decision to replace the bearings. There were some that were kind of pitted, and so I've decided to replace the bearings. I've also decided to replace the brakes. So I'm going to make this sort of a 2-part series. First I'll go through all the parts I'm replacing and the tools I've picked up to do it. I've always let the RV dealership do the job for me. Usually do it every year and a half, 2 years, around 10,000-12,000 miles. But I thought maybe it'd be a good thing for me to learn, especially since we're on the road a lot. And I may have to do repairs on my own sometimes, so I thought I'd learn the job myself. When I posted, I got a lot of advice in the comments. Really appreciate all that advice. So I think I got a good handle on it. I also downloaded the Dexter full service manual, so I know all the steps to do. Anyway, this part 1 of the video is to show you the parts I've acquired. It took me a couple weeks to get them here. We're kind of out in the boonies here on Vancouver Island, so getting parts is not as easy as, let's say, in the US. And I acquired a bunch of tools. I figure the money I'm saving not paying the labor, I might as well get myself some nice tools too. And that way I can do the job in the future and keep saving myself money. Also, I get a lot of people asking about our truck. When's our truck coming? Well, the good thing is old Blue here is still chugging along, leaking oil and making a nasty banging noise, but she's going, babying it along. Hopefully it'll last till we get our new truck. And the latest update is our new Dodge, well, not Dodge, they're called Rams now. Ram 3500 is in Kansas City. It's on a train from Mexico up to here, so it's sort of halfway. So we're expecting, the dealer thinks it'll come sometime in mid-October if everything goes right. So we're really looking forward to that. Anyway, let's get to this. Here's the bearings I took off and the seal, so I could get all the part numbers. I'm going to post all the part numbers I found for these parts in the description below. I'm also preparing a full detailed blog post on this whole operation. I'm also changing the races. I punched out the races and got the part numbers off them. And I'm going to change the whole brake assembly. I figure if I'm doing all this job at once, I may as well. These are 7 years old, so they're fairly worn. The magnets on them have a fair amount of wear, and also the shoes, they're starting to get some gouges off of them, so they're not really super worn down, but everything's just kind of old on them, so I thought I'll replace those. They're sort of an off size. Most of the 10-inch, they're 10-inch brake and 2 1/4 wide, if I remember correctly, and most of those are 3,500 pound rated brakes. These are 4,400 pound. They're off a Dexter D44 axle, and they seem to be kind of an oddball one. I could see 3,500 pound brakes everywhere and 5,000 pound, but 44 was kind of odd. And even when I went to the RV dealer here to look for parts, it wasn't even in their catalog, and they didn't have them in stock. They were trying to sell me some 3,500 pound, and I noticed right away, if you look at the bolt pattern here, these 2 bolts are wider across than these 2, so they're kind of off from each other. And you can see there's a big plate in here. The 3,500 pound didn't have that plate, so I was glad that I took this in and checked before I bought what they wanted to sell me. Anyway, they didn't have them, so I stopped at a local place, a mechanic that I've used here in Campbell River, and they also do trailer work, so he had a catalog that listed this part number. So you can see 023-06300 was the part, and there the right hand, and then there's another number for the matching left hand. So I got him to order me up some new ones. So I got 4 new brake assemblies to install, and they're really easy to install. They just go, these 4 studs go through, and you do up some nuts. So, and then there's 2 wires you can see there that I'll have to put back on. Nice. Anyway, they went for, I've seen these actually on eTrailer in the US, going for around $80 something right now on sale. But getting stuff like this shipped to Canada is a nightmare, going across the border with customs and duties. So I just got the local guy to order me from his source. So they were about $150 Canadian, which is $115 American. So a little bit more expensive, but I didn't have to worry about shipping. I just had to go and pick them up when they arrived, and only took 2 or 3 days to get them here. So I was happy with that. And in the meantime, I went in there and had them inspect this drum just to see if I may have to replace the drums as well. And they had a look and said they were fine. There's a little bit of rust on there because this one's been sitting outside a bit. But he checked the surfaces and he said no, there's no problem there. So as long as the other ones aren't in any worse shape than this one, I'll be good. And I'm happy because this drum also turned out to be, he said they'd be about $199 each, so I didn't want to spend $800 on new drums. What else? Yeah, so that's all the parts. So, oh, these bearings, I was able to get Timken. Thanks very much for the recommendations. Most people recommended the Timken brand of bearings, so I was able to get new bearings and races. I looked online and figured it out, and it came to set 17 and set 6 to match them up. That was another, because this was kind of an oddball axle size. That's 4,400 pounds. The bearing sizes were not the ones I was running into commonly. So, but after some perseverance, I was able to find. And they are available on Amazon in the US, but same deal, shipping sometimes is a problem, especially trying to get them in an RV park. So I looked around and I found them on summitracing.com, had them, and they have really easy shipping to Canada. They take care of all the duty, everything. You know what you're going to pay before they're shipped. So it looked like they shipped out of a warehouse in Ontario, so that was good. I also picked up the corresponding size of Timken seals, so I got 2 sets of bearings, races, and seals for each one. So, and that came to total $125 US, so not bad. Rather than go, everybody said stay away from putting in the Chinese bearings in there, which is what was in here. I guess OEM is made, it says China right on it, LYC. So, and the seals weren't any better. So I'm happy about that. I'm going to get some really high-end bearings, races, and seals, and brand new brakes on there. And then as far as grease, oh my God, everybody had a different grease, it seemed. Thanks very much for all your suggestions. I was actually going to get the Timken grease that the same as the bearings there, but when I went to get it shipped, they wouldn't ship it to Canada. I guess grease is banned as something you can ship. So anyway, I went to the local Canadian Tire store here and picked up this Lucas extra heavy duty grease. It was recommended by several people in the comments, and it looks like a really good grease. It says something like lasts 4 times longer than normal greases, and all the greases all state all kinds of great things about them. But this one seems to be a pretty quality grease, and it's also, one thing is, it's available pretty well everywhere, so if I need to add any or anything, won't be a problem, because there seems to be a problem with mixing greases. You don't want to mix different types of greases together. They end up messing with each other up, so I think I'll just stick with that. I've had Lucas products before. It's what I usually add when I'm on the road, the Big Blue, as a diesel lubricant. So that's pretty well all the parts I needed. And then tools. had some of the tools myself, but a few specialized tools I went and treated myself to. Of course, I had a grease gun before. Got lots of rags, some nitrite gloves. It's going to be a mess. And then I had a torque wrench of my own. This torque wrench has seen better days. It must be about 25 years old. It's been a good one, but honestly, I've used it as a breaker bar numerous times, which is a big no-no with torque wrenches. And I've never had it calibrated, so it's probably quite out of whack. So I think this is going to be my new breaker bar. And then when I was at Canadian Tire is kind of an automotive shop up here, automotive and hardware, all kinds of stuff. They had this DeWalt that was on sale. Brand new torque wrench. Woo! So it was regularly 179 Canadian, which translates to maybe, 140 American. And they had it on half price. So that was a pretty good deal. It's a nice one. It's a lot longer than the one I have too, so should be a little easier on the old back and arms. Has a little protective rubber cover on it. Comes with this nice little case to keep it in too, so kind of treated myself to that. And what else we got here? This is for adjusting the drum brakes, the shoes in there with this little star adjuster. You use that to get through the back. Kind of weird angle on it. This is a seal puller. Helps you pull the seals out of the drums. And then I got a brass punch for punching out the races there. And the brass is a softer metal, so it helps you not scar up anything when you're doing that. Nice little hammer here. It's a 2.5 pound. And then also had, from before, I had a nice rubber mallet. That's good for getting the cover off there, the dust cover. It's good for whacking it off. And they also at Canadian Tire had a 20-ton bottle jack on sale. And it was like about 30% off, and I've kind of wanted one of those. I got a trolley jack, but it's 2.5 tons, and it's all it can do to kind of lift the trailer or the truck, so I thought I'd get one of those instead. And I'm going to give this a try. It's a bearing packer, kind of just a cheap one. You can pack them in your hand, or you can use this gizmo, so I think I'll give each thing a try, see which I like better. And I've had an impact gun for a while. This is a 1/2-inch cordless impact gun. Kind of helps once you've cracked the lug nuts. You can put them on and off really easy with that. Okay, almost finished. I've got my old Craftsman Socket Set I've had for many decades, and this was kind of cool. I was going to actually maybe buy one of these. This is a race something to drive the races into the hubs, the different sizes, and you can also drive the seal in properly, and it's a little kit to do that. But it's kind of cool. The Canadian Tire here has a tool loan out program. So you go in there and you pay for it. So this is like $79 for this kit. And once you're finished using it, you take it back and they refund your money. So kind of a free loan out. That was kind of cool, because how many times you're going to use that. And some people never use them. They just use the punch to put the races in. But this drives it in nice and square for you. There we go. Going to be lots of fun. Hopefully it'll stop raining. Whoops, missed two things. I also got some butt connectors. These are waterproof type to hook up the brake wires. They're also shrinkable, so you crimp them up and then you hit hit them with some heat and they shrink on, and they're waterproof for the connections. And I also got a nice socket for putting on the axle nut. I read when you put that on, you have to pre-torque it on to 50 pounds to kind of set the bearings in there, and then you back it off. So I thought I'd pick that up just so I can do it properly. So what I'm going to do is I'll go in the next part, I'll go step by step through my process here, and and let you know exactly how I take the old stuff off and put the new stuff on, test her out. Any advice is always appreciated. I got a pretty good handle on it. I've watched a lot of videos, and like I say, I have the Dexter's service manual that gives you a step-by-step, tells you all the torque and how to do everything. So hopefully I'll do it right. But I'll just state up front, I'm not an expert. I'm not a certified RV technician. I'm not a mechanic. Kind of doing this on myself, hoping to learn all about it so I know what's going on in there, so in the future I can do a repair on my own if we have a breakdown or anything. Anyway, I'll come out with another video in a few days for you. Till next time, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Happy trails, folks. Cheers. Are you hiding from the rain? Holy crap, it's wet out here.